Hello YouTubers and Facebookers. We're going to do a tour of my drum set. I'm going to do an update of my drum kit, and this is going to go to the end of the hallway and go into my drum room. This is my dog. Her name's Missy. She actually likes to watch me play drums, but she actually falls asleep in front of the drum kit sometimes, so that's okay. It's nice to have her around. As I walk in here, this is my drum kit. As I said, I did a SQ2 tour about a year and a half ago, my SQ2 drum kit, and it's gone through a lot of changes since then because of the music I'm playing now is more alternative rock, like 30 Seconds to Mars, My Chemical Romance, etc. We'll start with the changes with the electronic stuff. Let's go over here. This is called a Chord Wave drum. I don't have any of my studio gear turned on, so this is just going to be camera audio. So this is a Chord Wave drum, probably the best percussion synthesizer ever made. It's very realistic in terms of dynamics. I can play it real soft, really loud. It's just amazing. I really like it. Going over here to the left side of my kit, I've got a bit of a rolling V-drum type of setup over here. Starting with the trigger pads, we'll go down here to the bottom. That's a KD7. And over here, it's a PD85. Best for triggering snare sounds is this. It's very sensitive. It's got a rim here. Got the PD8s. I got 3 of them right there. So there's 5, 6. Then I got, on top here, I got 3 PD7s. I got the smaller ones than the PD8s over here because I want to squeeze these in between the 3 rack toms. And I've always liked that setup with 3 rack toms, 2 floor toms, and I always like to see 3 pads on top of there. And I trigger sounds that are not associated with the drum kit typically, just awkward kind of sounds, drum loops, things like that fits 30 Seconds to Mars type of music. And got some chimes over there. And since my last SQ2 tour kit of this drum set, I was using Remo heads, but I've since switched to Evans. We'll start with the bass drum. Excuse me. Bass drum I'm using right down here. It's a 20x14 Sonor, heavy birch. Oh my gosh, I forgot the shell material. Heavy birch. It's 20x14. It's got an EMAD head, and I don't have any of the muffle rings in there because it just doesn't need it because I've got an EQ pad on the plain side and on the resonant side. And I've got an EQ3 ebony resonant head with a mic hole cut to accommodate my Shure Beta 52. Of course, I got the patch on there to protect it, and I got the DW 9000 double pedal, and got a Tama Iron Cobra hi-hat stand there. And on the snare, the left side snare is a 12x4¼ heavy birch, and it's got a coated G1 with a 300 snare sight on the bottom. And with my main snare, my favorite snare, you can see through it. It's an acrylic snare. It's a 4x6 Sonor SQ2. Got the ST dry head. It's got little holes around the perimeter of the head here, which kind of muffles the overring. And I got a 300 snare sight head on the bottom, and I'll put my camera down there, and you can see I've got percussion sound brass snare wires, 24 strands, which really brightens up the drum. Going over to the toms, same before, 8x8, 10x8, 12x8, 14x14, 16x16. And when I first switched out the heads from Remo to Evans, I went with coated G2s for the toms, and I really liked them. But in the music I'm playing currently, they didn't have that attack I was looking for. I was looking for some stick attack to kind of cut through the heavy guitar and vocals that 30 Seconds to Mars uses all the time in their choruses, well, in their verses too. And I just discovered that these EC2s are better suited for that environment versus the coated G2s. And it's just a personal preference with the genre of music that's being played. That's why I chose these. And the bottom heads, I've got the generic glass resonance. And they're an extra thin head. I like the contrast of a thicker 2-ply head and then a really thin head on the bottom. It brightens up the tone of the toms. It doesn't sound so muddy. So anyway, that's the acoustic drum setup. Now going with the cymbals, I change the cymbals quite a lot too because of the music. I use usually new beat 14s or rock 14s, a little bit overkill for this room, but for this particular situation, I really like the 14-inch A Master Sound bottom, A Armand hi-hat top. Really nice combination. 14-inch Oriental China Trash, 11-inch China Splash. Now on the 2 crashes here, for a while I was using 19 and 20-inch A medium thin crashes, and they were way overkill for this room. Very gongy, Did not sound good. And that's the room acoustics more than the cymbal. Even with some of the sound absorbing material I have in the room, they were still overkill. So I opted for a 19-inch K-Custom hybrid. And then this was another 19-inch K-Custom hybrid. A little bit lower in pitch. Down to the ride, in my opinion, the best ride cymbal ever made, Zildjian's 24-inch K-Lite ride. Very nice sounding cymbal. Up here is like 18-inch A-Custom Effects Crash. It sounds like a China cymbal and a crash cymbal all in one. Very nice. Can't play it too loud because of the camera audio. And I got speakers for monitoring over here, and I've got my Mackie mixer now. I've had that for a while. I didn't have it in the last tour of my setup. It's great for mixing, and of course I've got the Elysis recorder, the DACing, Purple Audio API, got some Nevi preamps down there, 4 channels worth, and got the 2 sets of headphones, G&K Ultra phones. That hasn't changed. Same miking system as before. The overheads are now kind of diagonal left and right from the snare instead of overhead. I'm getting less room ambience that way, more emphasis on the attack of the drums. And what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to play each drum a couple times so you can hear the tuning. I'm going to have to hit it light because of the camera audio, and I'm only going to be using 1 stick, so there's not going to be anything musically great. So we'll start with this snare drum right here, the 12 by 4.5. Okay, off to the 14 by 6 SQ2 acrylic snare. Now the bass drum, 20 by 14. Really big boomy sound, really nice. And we'll start going down the toms. Okay, so that's a tour of my kit. That's an update. I was a little long-winded, probably talked a little too much. Sorry the video was a little too long, but feel free to send me any kind of questions you might have about my setup, and thanks for watching.